All right, let's dive into a huge idea, one that really shaped the world we live in today. It all comes from the brilliant mind of one philosopher, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And it all kicks off with a really basic question about what it means to be human.
So, I want to start by asking you something that gets right to the heart of it all. Just think about it for a second. Are we, as human beings, naturally born free?
Because that's the thing that bugged Rousseau. He famously said that man is born free, but then he looked around and saw that everywhere he is in chains. And that was the big puzzle he set out to solve. How can we live together in a society without giving up the very freedom we're supposed to be born with?
Now, to really get his answer, you have to picture the world he was living in. Rousseau was a huge voice during this incredible intellectual movement that was sweeping across Europe, known as the Age of Enlightenment. This was a time when all the old rules were being thrown out the window. People started by just questioning the authority of kings in the church. Then that grew into this core belief in using reason and science to figure things out. And that in turn led to a totally radical idea that government should be there to serve the people, not the other way around.
And right in the thick of all this excitement was Jean-Jacques Rousseau. But here's the thing. He wasn't just another voice in the crowd. He was a different kind of thinker, one who had this really optimistic view of people.
And this is where Rousseau really split from a lot of his buddies. See, most thinkers at the time believed that people were kind of naturally selfish and flawed, and that we needed society and its rules to keep us in line. Rousseau just completely flipped that idea on its head. He argued that we're actually born good, and it's society itself that messes us up.
And that one belief is the key to everything else he talked about. Because if people are naturally good, then the problem isn't us, it's the system we've built. An unfair society is what creates things like greed and injustice. So the real question becomes, how do you build a fair one?
Which brings us to his absolutely groundbreaking answer, which he laid out in his most famous book, The Social Contract. This was basically his blueprint for a society that protects our freedom instead of stamping it out.
So what is this social contract? Well, at its core, it's a kind of deal, a trade-off. We all agree to give up a tiny piece of our absolute do-whatever-we-want freedom, like the freedom to just blast through a red light. And in exchange for that little sacrifice, we all get the safety and protection of living in an organized society where our rights are protected. It's a group agreement for the good of the whole team.
He kind of laid it out in a few logical steps. First, people get together for mutual protection. Makes sense. Then, they agree to a set of common rules. We call them laws. A government is then created, not to be a boss, but to be more like a referee, making sure everyone plays by the rules fairly. And this is the absolute game changer, if that government stops doing its job, the people have the right to get rid of it.
Yeah, that last part, the whole idea that the people can just change their government, that's the core of another one of Rousseau's bombshell ideas, popular sovereignty.
I mean, you have to realize how revolutionary this was. We're talking about an age of powerful kings who claimed God himself gave them the right to rule. And here comes Rousseau saying, no. He argued that real, legitimate power doesn't come from God or from your family name. It comes from the people, full stop.
And the fallout from that one idea was massive. If the power comes from the people, well then kings can't just do whatever they feel like. The laws have to reflect what the people as a whole actually want, what he called the general will. The government's entire job description changes from controlling people to serving them.
And for Rousseau, this thinking went way beyond just politics. For a society to be truly fair, it had to be equal. The whole idea that one person is just born better or more deserving of power than another, to him, that was completely absurd.
So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, that's a cool philosophy, but did any of this stuff actually happen? Oh yeah, big time. Rousseau's ideas didn't just stay tucked away in books, they lit the fuse for actual revolutions.
His ideas on popular sovereignty and the rights of the people became the battle cry for democratic movements all over the planet. You can literally see his fingerprints on documents like the American Declaration of Independence, and in the spirit of revolutions that sent monarchies packing for good.
So look, if you take away just one single thing from all of Rousseau's work, let it be this simple, powerful idea. The ultimate authority in a society doesn't belong to a ruler or a government, it belongs to the people.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, right? The social contract isn't some dusty artifact from history. It's a living, breathing agreement that we're all a part of every single day. We renegotiate it every time we vote, every time we protest, every time we participate in our communities. So the real question for all of us right now is, what are your terms?